Hi everyone, I'm Griffiths, the author of the Creative Thinking Handbook and founder of Open Genius. I'd like to talk to you about the ways that businesses are hindering creativity. The lack of challenging assumptions within your thinking could be holding you back. Let me give you a good example. If we were to look at the day before the iPhone was released, and we were to say, well, what were the drivers driving the sales of mobile phones at that time? We might say that mobile phones were getting smaller, battery life was getting better, signal strength was getting better, price was actually coming down. Then all of a sudden, the iPhone came out and it was more expensive. It had a worse battery life. It was bigger than most phones that were there. The signal strength wasn't even that good. Why then was it so successful? Because it broke every rule that was currently there at the time. It was because Steve Jobs was willing to challenge those assumptions. So think about what you need to do. Another area which really holds businesses back in terms of their creativity is falling foul of conformational bias. This is where you always look for supporting information. This is where people that tell you that your idea is good actually are not helping you. Because one piece of information that disproves your belief is worth far more than 1,000 pieces of information that actually agree with your thinking. So you must never allow yourself to fall into that conformational bias trap. It's just so dangerous. You need much more balance. Another area that really holds people back is the reliance on research. Now, don't get me wrong, research is really important. It would be crazy for me to say, ignore all of the research that your organization is doing. But you have to take that with balance, because research tends to look backwards, and research only gives you the information based on the questions that you're asking. So if you're asking the wrong questions, you're not going to get an insight into the correct answers. I'll give you an example. Coca-Cola in the mid-80s brought out what they called New Coke. They actually did the largest taste test of any organization had ever done in history. Over 250,000 people had tried New Coke compared to the old Coke, the classic Coke. And it was absolutely unquestionable which was better. People preferred the taste of New Coke. The research was clear. It's going to be an absolute success. So when they released New Coke, why was it that it was an absolute failure? Well, it was a failure because they didn't realize the emotional connection that people had with the Coca-Cola that they'd grown up with. So that looking at the research and making all of your decisions based on the research can be a very, very dangerous game to play.